Hey, morning, y'all. I was just sitting here talking with a friend about Jesus, and we were just talking about what this word obedience means. Obedience and submission, they tend to go hand in hand. And, we have to submit to the Lord and then in obedience, carry out whatever he asks us to do. And as we were talking, the story of Jesus with a young man called the rich young ruler came to my mind. And this man comes up to him and says, Jesus, what do I have to do to inherit the kingdom? And Jesus says, you know what to do, keep the commandments. And the man says, I've done that. And Jesus says, well, there's one more thing you need to do. You need to follow me and inherit the kingdom. You need to go sell everything you own, give it to the poor, and then come follow me. Because Jesus knew that this man's heart was a little too tied to his money, to his stuff, to his earthly possessions. And the interesting thing about this scripture is it says that this man walked away with his face hanging. He was sad because he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to give up his possessions. He didn't want to give up his money. He didn't want to act in obedience and submission to Christ fully. And it just made me think about these ideas of obedience and submission. When God calls us to do something, when he puts something very specific on our lives, are we acting in obedience and acting in submission? Or are we acting in sadness? And I thought of these three things. And we see this in the rich young ruler. See, this rich young ruler thinks he's obedient to God. He thinks he's doing everything God's asked him to do. But God gives him this one more thing, and he doesn't want to do it. And I thought about this. One, partial obedience is not obedience at all. If God is calling you to do something, even if it's hard, even if it's sacrificial, even if it means you don't want to do it, but God is calling you to do it, doesn't he have a better plan at the end of it, through it, on the other side of it? But don't we compromise sometimes? We want to go, yeah, I'll do this part, but I won't do this part. Or I'll do most of it, but do you understand that partial obedience is not full obedience? I wrestle with that, and I struggle with that a lot of times, where God has called me to do something and I do some of it or most of it, but I don't do all of it. And I think when we do that, the second point I want to make is you will never experience the fullness of your relationship with Christ in partial obedience and in partial submission to him. We'll never experience the fullness of who God is in our lives if we say, God, I'll do some of what you ask me to do, or I'll give you part of my life. I'll give you the easy parts. I'll do the easy things that you've called me to do. So one, remember, partial obedience is not obedience. Two, you'll never experience the fullness of Christ in your life in partial obedience. We'll never experience the fullness of his plan and all that he wants for us if we only give him part of our submission and obedience. And then three, full obedience and submission, that gives God the room to work in our lives, the way only he can do. See, if we're holding back, if God's called us to do something hard, and trust me, he's done that in my life. He's doing that in my life right now. He's been asking me lately to do some hard things and search some hard things in my soul, maybe release some things and give some stuff, but also to just be alone with him. And that's struggle. There's a struggle in there a little bit, just like, Lord, what do you want me to give over? But I'm trying to do my best. And I think when we can give full obedience and full submission to God, then we get to experience the fullness of his plan. And we get to see him work in ways that we never thought. So what are you holding on to? What has he asked you to give up? What is he asking you to do? What is he asking you to sacrifice in fullness so that you can see the fullness of his work? See the fullness. What are you working in partial obedience right now? The rich young ruler was willing to live the 10 commandments out, but he wasn't willing to give up his stuff. And it wasn't that Jesus was upset that he was rich. It was that he was saying, you're clinging too tightly to something I'm asking you to give up. Are we willing to, in full obedience and in full submission to Christ, say, what are you asking me to give up? What are you asking me to do? What are you asking me to sacrifice of myself? Are we willing to say yes to that? I wrestle with that. I'm sure you wrestle with that. But I challenge you to really think about that and ask God to really work in that and reveal that and uncover that. And then I challenge you to be submissive to that and obedient to that, because full obedience gets the fullness of God. Partial obedience is not obedience at all. I hope y'all have a great day. If you need to pray over this, ask me to pray. I'll pray over it. I wrestle with this, but I hope y'all have a great day. I love y'all. If you need anything from me, holler.